The Junkyard discovery. The Junkyard was quiet that night. The air was cold, and a thin fog hung over the broken machines and piles of metal. Old cars, robots, and forgotten parts lay in heaps. Some of them were rusty, some still had faint lights, blinking as if they were trying to wake up one last time. The wind blew softly through the yard, making the metal scraps rattle and hum. Alex walked slowly between the piles, his boots crunching over glass and dirt. He was 17, tall and thin, with messy black hair. His jacket was torn at the sleeve, and his hands were dirty from digging through trash all day. This was his job, searching for scrap to sell. But tonight, he wasn't just working. He was hoping maybe he would find something special. Something worth more than a few coins. His flashlight cut through the fog as he moved from pile to pile. He picked up a broken drone, shook it, and threw it aside. Too old, too damaged. He kicked a metal crate, and it groaned. Empty then, as he turned to climb over a stack of car doors. He stopped. There it was at first. It looked like just another piece of junk, half buried under wires and dust. But it was glowing, very faintly, a soft blue light. Alex tilted his head and squinted. He climbed down closer and pushed aside the wires. His fingers brushed against smooth metal, cool to the touch. He pulled harder, and with a loud snap, the object came loose and rolled into the dirt. It was a helmet, not like any helmet he had ever seen before. It was shaped like a soldier's helmet, but more elegant. The surface was black and silver, with strange lines that seemed to shift when he moved it in the light. The front had a thin visor that glowed faint blue, like a sleeping eye. Alex turned the helmet over in his hands. It didn't feel like it belonged here. It didn't even feel human. Then he heard something, a low hum, coming from the helmet. He froze, staring at it. The hum grew louder. The visor flared to life, and a thin blue line ran across it. Then a small light on the side blinked 3 times. Alex dropped it in surprise. But before it hit the ground, the helmet floated. He stepped back, heart pounding, as the helmet rose into the air in front of him. Then, suddenly, a sharp click, and a faint hologram appeared above it, a figure of light, wearing armor, standing tall. The figure's voice was deep and calm, but mechanical, like a recording. "Commander," it said, "you have been dead for 400 years." Alex's mouth went dry. He stared at the figure, too shocked to move. The hologram continued, its glowing eyes fixed on him. "Mission incomplete. Humanity still needs you." Alex shook his head. "What? Who are you? What are you talking about?" But the figure didn't answer his questions. Instead, it raised its hand and pointed at him. "Identification confirmed," it said. "Commander, welcome back." The helmet floated closer and suddenly dropped into his hands. Alex stumbled and caught it. The surface was warm now, almost alive. He looked down at it, and for a moment, he thought he saw his own reflection, but older, with scars and armor. The hum from the helmet grew louder, and strange symbols began to flash across the visor. Alex's heart raced. This wasn't just an old piece of tech. This was something else, something important. He wanted to throw it away and run, but something deep inside him, a feeling he didn't understand, told him to hold on. Then the voice spoke again, softer this time. "Commander, wake up." Alex blinked. And in that blink he felt something. A strange image flashed in his mind. Stars, ships, explosions, soldiers in silver armor, and his own voice shouting orders. He gasped and dropped the helmet. The light faded. The junkyard was quiet again. But in the distance, beyond the fog, he thought he saw movement. A dark shape, tall and thin, watching him from between the piles of scrap. Alex froze, staring into the fog. But when he blinked again, the shape was gone. He looked down at the helmet, still lying. At his feet, still glowing faintly, the words from the hologram echoed in his head. "You have been dead for 400 years." His hands trembled as he picked it up again, and somewhere, hidden in the junkyard shadows, something else moved. Something that didn't want him to wake up. Asterisk the message. The helmet sat on Alex's desk, glowing faintly in the dark room. He hadn't slept all night. He couldn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those strange images, stars burning, soldiers screaming, giant alien creatures tearing ships apart. And always his own voice, shouting orders he didn't understand out now. As dawn broke and weak sunlight slipped through the broken blinds, Alex just sat and stared at the helmet. He should throw it away. Sell it. Forget about it. But his hands wouldn't let go. It felt heavy now, like it was watching him, like it knew him. He reached out, fingers shaking, and touched the visor. For a moment, nothing. Then, with a soft click, the helmet came alive. Blue lines raced across its surface. Symbols glowed, moving fast, like they were scanning him. And then the helmet spoke. "Commander, are you ready?" Alex froze. "No," he whispered. "I'm not whoever you think I am." Denial detected. DNA, match confirmed. Neural pattern, match confirmed. "You are Commander Alex Rain." Alex blinked. "Commander? What? That's not my name. I'm just mission parameters loading." The helmet lifted itself and floated in front of him. And before he could stop it, it snapped onto his head. Alex gasped. The visor flared, blinding him. He tried to pull it off, but his hands wouldn't move. Then the world around him vanished. When his vision cleared, Alex was no longer in his room. He stood in the middle of a battlefield. Not on Earth. Not anywhere he knew. The sky above was dark, filled with giant ships and streaks of fire. Explosions shook the ground. Towers of black metal cracked and fell as creatures with long claws and glowing eyes charged forward. Around him, humans in silver armor fought back, their rifles flashing blue. And standing in the middle of it all was himself, but older, stronger. Wearing the same helmet, he watched himself raise a blade of light and shout, "Hold the line. Humanity will not fall." Then everything went black. Alex gasped as he ripped the helmet off and fell backward. His hands were shaking. His shirt was soaked with sweat. What was that? He muttered. But before he could catch his breath, the helmet spoke again. "Commander, mission incomplete. Enemy forces remain operational. Timeline disruption detected. Humanity's survival. 2%. Alex stared at it, terrified. "Why me? Why now?" "Because you chose to hide, and now they have found you." That last sentence made his blood run cold. He glanced at the window and stopped breathing. Figure was standing outside. Tall, thin, not human. Its skin was gray and stretched tight over its bones. Its eyes glowed faint yellow. And even through the glass, Alex could feel its gaze. The creature didn't move. It just watched him. Then it raised one long finger and pointed at him. Alex stumbled back from the window. The helmet hissed and spoke. Urgently, they are here. Escape now. Survival probability, 14% and dropping. The figure outside moved suddenly, faster than anything Alex had ever seen. It leapt onto the roof. Then another one appeared on the street. And another. Alex grabbed the helmet, shoving it into his backpack. "Where do I go?" he shouted. Double quotes north. Hidden base detected. 2.4 miles. Move now. Alex didn't stop to think. He kicked open the door and ran into the morning light. Behind him, the creatures leapt off the roof and started chasing. Their movements were strange, like spiders, fast and silent. Alex sprinted down the empty street, his breath burning in his chest. He could hear them behind him, claws scraping against concrete. Low growls echoing in the air. The helmet's voice guided him. Left. Climb the wall. Now right, jump. He obeyed without question, ducking into alleys, vaulting fences, crashing through an abandoned warehouse. But the creatures kept coming. At one point, he glanced back and saw one crawling along the ceiling above. Him, its eyes glowing brighter now, its teeth bared. He ran faster. Base entrance ahead, hidden hatch. 5 meters. He skidded to a stop in a dead-end alley. There was nothing here, just cracked concrete and a pile of trash. No, there's nothing here, he shouted. Remove debris, hurry. Alex dropped to his knees, pulling at the trash. His fingers bled as he tore away metal sheets and broken wood. Then, his hand hit something cold and smooth. Steel hatch. He yanked it open and crawled inside. Just as a claw slammed down where his head had been, the last thing he saw before closing the hatch was a pair of glowing yellow eyes staring down at him. The hatch sealed with a hiss, and he tumbled down a metal chute into darkness. For a moment, he just lay there, gasping, listening to the faint sound of claws scraping on the hatch above. Then the helmet spoke one more time. Welcome, Commander. Base systems online. Preparing mission briefing. Alex sat up slowly, still shaking, still breathing hard. He looked around. The walls of the underground base glowed faint blue, and strange machines hummed softly in the shadows. Somehow, he knew this place, and deep down he felt something he hadn't felt before. Fear. Not confusion, but something stronger. Like a memory trying to wake up. The helmet's voice whispered in the silence. You are the last hope. Alex closed his eyes and whispered back. Then tell me what to do. The chase the underground base was alive with a quiet hum. Blue lights ran along the walls, and strange machines flickered in the shadows. It felt cold, yet somehow familiar, like stepping into a dream Alex had forgotten long ago. He stood there, breathing hard, still holding the helmet. His chest rose and fell. His hands shook, but the voice inside the helmet was calm. Mission briefing ready. Time remaining, 37 minutes before enemy breach. Alex swallowed hard. What happens if they breach? He asked, though he already knew the answer. You die. Humanity dies. The mission fails. Alex closed his eyes for a second, then put the helmet back on. This time, it didn't fight him. The visor lit up, and the world in front of him shimmered. Data and maps appearing on the walls, symbols glowing in the air. Commander Alex Rain, the voice said. You are the last human commander of the orbital fleet. Your body was hidden. Your memories were erased. This base is your first step back. The map showed lines of red moving closer to his position. Dozens of them. The creatures. They are hunting you, the helmet continued. If they reach this base, it will be destroyed. You must reach the extraction point. Alex stared at the map. The red dots moved fast. Faster than he thought possible. How far is the extraction point? He asked. 4.3 miles. Across enemy territory. Estimated survival probability. 9%. Alex gave a weak laugh. 9%? That's comforting. Better than 0, the voice replied. Flatly. Alex took a deep breath and looked around. There was a rack of weapons on the wall. Rifles, pistols, blades that shimmered with blue energy. His hands moved on their own, picking up a compact rifle and slinging it over his shoulder. Then a small, sleek dagger that pulsed in his hand. The helmet's voice interrupted his thoughts. You already know how to use them. He didn't argue. Somewhere deep inside, he did know. His hands felt steady now. His breath even. The commander was waking up. Time to move, the voice said. The base door slid open with a hiss. Beyond it, the tunnels were dark and narrow. Alex ran. The air above ground was colder now. Sharper. Fog hung low, and the streets were empty. But the silence was worse than noise. He could feel them out there, moving, waiting. The helmet's visor lit up with faint blue lines, showing him paths and warning of movement. 3 enemies ahead. Close. Take the left alley, it instructed. Alex obeyed, slipping into the shadows, crouching low as he moved. Every step was louder than he wanted. Somewhere above him, claws scraped metal. He froze, looked up. One of the creatures was crawling upside down on a beam, its glowing yellow eyes locked on him. Alex didn't think. He raised the rifle and fired. The shot was silent, just a blue flash, and the creature fell without a sound. But now the others knew. A loud, inhuman scream ripped through the air. It came from everywhere, over the rooftops, out of the alleys, moving impossibly fast. Alex ran. His feet pounded the ground as the visor shouted directions in his ear. Right. Jump over the fence. Left. Through the window. Glass shattered as he dove into an abandoned building, but they followed. Claws tore through walls. A hand, long and gray, reached for his leg, but he spun and drove the dagger into it. The creature shrieked and fell back. He kept moving. A staircase, across a collapsed floor, over beams, outside again. The fog was thicker now, and the sky above glowed faint red, as if something massive was burning in orbit. He didn't stop to look, but the creatures kept coming. One leapt from the sea, fog, and slammed into him, knocking him to the ground. Its face was inches from his sharp teeth, glowing eyes, breath like ice. Alex grabbed the dagger and drove it into the creature's chest. It screeched and dissolved into black smoke. You must keep moving, Commander, the voice said. Calm even now. I'm trying. Alex shouted, but when he looked ahead, he saw them waiting. Dozens of them. Standing in a line, blocking his path. Alex stopped, breathing hard. His mind raced. There is another way, the helmet said softly. A panel on the visor opened, showing him a hidden path below ground. Through the sewers. But then he heard it. New sound. Not the creatures. Something bigger. The ground shook. From the fog ahead, a giant shape emerged. It was at least 3 stories tall. A massive machine, with claws and tentacles and hundreds of yellow eyes glowing. Hunter-class behemoth detected, the helmet said. Alex's chest tightened. What do I do against that? Run, the voice said. Run faster. So he did. He dove through a manhole just as the street behind him exploded. The tunnel below was dark, wet, and full of strange smells. But at least it was quiet. He ran through the black water, the helmets, visor lighting the way. Every now and then, he heard distant thuds above, the giant machine moving, searching. And then the sound of claws on the tunnel walls. They were here too. Alex slowed, holding his rifle tighter. The helmet whispered, Commander, they are testing you, remembering you. If you survive this, you will remember too. Alex gritted his teeth and kept moving. A shadow moved behind him. Another ahead. They were closing in. But this time, he didn't feel scared. He raised his rifle, aimed, and whispered to himself, Fine, let's see what I can do. And with that, the commander fought his way through the darkness, step by step, toward the extraction point, toward the next piece of the truth, toward the war waiting to wake up. Asterisk. The underground base. Alex stumbled out of the sewer tunnel, gasping for air. His boots scraped against smooth metal now, no longer whetstone. The narrow tunnel opened into a wide chamber, a massive underground hangar glowing with blue light. For a moment, he just stood there, stunned. It was beautiful, The walls curved high above him, covered with strange patterns that seemed to move. Machines hummed quietly, lights danced across consoles, and a faint mist curled along the floor. That this place was alive, that it didn't feel like something humans could have built, but at the same time, it felt like it belonged to him. That the helmet spoke softly in his ear. "Welcome back, Commander. Base Omega online." Alex lowered his rifle and took a few steps forward, his eyes wide. "What is this place?" he whispered. "This is where you were, created, and where you were hidden. You are home." He walked along a walkway above a deep shaft filled with giant machines. Below, faint lights flickered like stars. Everywhere he looked, strange drones floated silently, scanning, repairing, working, yet none of them paid him any attention. Then, suddenly, a shape moved ahead of him. At first he thought it was another creature, but no. It was a drone, larger than the others, with a faint blue glow and a smooth, egg-shaped body. It hovered toward him and stopped, only a few feet away. A light blinked on its surface. Then it spoke. "Commander Rain, Unit Sigma 3 at your service." Its voice was soft, almost gentle, yet full of authority. Alex stared at it. "You know me? I served under you for 12 years, it replied. "You programmed me to protect this base, should the war reach Earth. And you programmed me to wake you when the time was right." Alex shook his head slowly. "I don't remember." "You will," Sigma 3 said simply. Then it moved aside and pointed toward a tall door at the far end of the chamber. "Your memories are waiting." Alex swallowed and walked toward the door. As he reached it, the helmet spoke again. "Warning. Enemy life forms detected on surface. Breach expected in 14 minutes. The door opened with a deep hiss, revealing a circular room. And inside Alex stopped. It was full of him. Rows of pods lined the walls, each one containing a figure wearing silver armor, eyes closed, hands crossed over their chest. His own face stared back at him from every pod. Some looked older, some scarred, some almost peaceful. It was like walking into a hall of ghosts. Alex's hands shook. "What is this?" Sigma 3 floated beside him. "You have died before, Commander, many times. But your consciousness was saved, copied, restarted. You have fought this war again and again." Alex stepped closer to one of the pods and touched the glass. Inside, the version of himself opened its eyes. He stumbled back, heart racing. "They are not alive now," Sigma 3 said calmly. "Just memories. Fragments of what you were. But you are the final version." Alex turned and stared at the drone. "Why? Why keep bringing me back?" "Because only you can finish it," the drone replied. "You are humanity's weapon, humanity's hope. You chose this." Alex shook his head. "I didn't choose this. I don't even remember. You chose to forget, to hide, because the enemy found your secret, and you thought it was safer this way." Alex looked around at all the pods, feeling a strange sadness. "How many times?" he asked quietly. 31, the drone answered. The words echoed in his mind. 30-1, 31. Lives. 30-1 deaths. And here he was again. Suddenly the helmet flared bright and a sharp alarm rang out. Breach detected. Enemy forces entering base. Hostile class. Behemoth approaching. 6 minutes to contact. The walls of the chamber shook slightly, dust falling from above. Alex's eyes hardened. "No more running. What do I have to do?" Sigma 3 moved toward the center of the room, where a strange chair rose from the floor, sleek and metallic, glowing faintly. "Sit. The chair will unlock your full memories and abilities. But it will hurt." "How much?" Alex asked, though he already knew the answer. All of it, the drone said. Alex took a breath and dropped his rifle. He sat, the chair's metal arms locked around his wrists and ankles. Then, pain, blinding, burning. Memories flooded in, like a storm breaking through his mind. He saw everything. The first time he had worn the armor, the first battle, the first death. He saw himself fighting in the stars, standing before alien kings, giving orders to fleets, watching planets burn, and then, hiding, he saw himself choosing to erase it all, to forget, to bury himself here on Earth. Because he had found something the enemy could never be allowed to touch. And now, he remembered where it was. The helmet's voice spoke softly in his ear. Commander online. Neural locks released. Mission resumed. The chair unlocked, and Alex stood. He felt stronger now, taller. His hands didn't shake anymore. The walls shook again, louder now. Outside the door, the creatures were coming, but Alex didn't feel afraid. He turned to Sigma 3. Open. The armory, he said. The drone's lights blinked once. Yes, Commander. A massive panel slid open, revealing rows of weapons and armor, far more advanced than anything he had seen before. Alex stepped forward, choosing a blade that hummed when he touched it. He strapped on the armor piece by piece, feeling it lock into place, like it had been waiting for him all along. Then he took one last look at the door, where shadows were already moving on the other side. His visor lit up blue, and the helmet spoke one final time. The enemy has come for you, Commander. Show them why they fear you. Alex gripped his blade tight and smiled faintly. Let them come. And as the door began to crack under the weight of claws and fists, the commander of humanity took his first step forward, ready to face the war once more. Asterisk, the war begins. The door shook under the weight of the creatures outside. Metal groaned. Dust fell, and sharp claws scraped against the steel as the enemy hammered at it. Again and again. Alex stood in the center of the room, silent, his armor gleaming faint blue in the dim light. The blade in his hand hummed with energy, its edge shimmering like starlight. His breathing was calm. Now, no more doubt, no more fear. He remembered who he was. He was the commander of the last human fleet. He was the blade humanity forged to survive. Tonight, the war began again. The helmet's voice spoke softly. Door integrity, 18%. Hostile breach imminent. 5 seconds. Alex flexed his fingers around the blade. 3 seconds. He lowered his stance. Ready? 1 second. The door exploded inward in a burst of fire and metal, and the first creature leapt through, tall, gray, its yellow eyes burning bright. Alex moved before it even landed. One clean strike, the blade, cut through its chest in a flash of light, and it fell in 2 pieces, dissolving into black smoke before it hit the floor. More poured in behind it, dozens of them, crawling along the walls, the ceiling moving like a river of shadows. But Alex was already moving. He was fast now, faster than he remembered ever being. His armor seemed to think for him, predicting their attacks, guiding his strikes. The first wave fell quickly, their screams echoing through the base. But then the second wave came, larger, stronger creatures, their claws sparking as they slashed. Through the floor, one of them slammed into him, throwing him against the wall, so hard the metal dented. But Alex didn't even pause. He spun, drove his blade into its skull, and shoved it aside. The visor flashed warnings. Hunter class detected. Hostile class detected. Multiple signatures. From the broken door, the air changed, and then he saw it. The behemoth it ducked through the doorway, its massive form barely fitting inside. Its body was plated with black armor, its dozens of yellow eyes glowing in the dark. Tentacles whipped out from its back, cracking the walls as it advanced. Behind it, Smaller creatures followed, crawling in its shadow. The helmet whispered, "This is their general. Kill it, and they will fall into chaos." Alex narrowed his eyes. "Fine," he said. He dropped his rifle. No time for careful shots now, and gripped the blade in both hands. The behemoth let out a deafening roar that shook the entire base. Alex charged. The fight was brutal. Tentacles lashed out, slicing the floor apart, but Alex dodged them, sliding under one, vaulting over another, closing the distance. He climbed up its armored side as it swung at him, stabbing his blade deep into the gaps between plates, tearing away chunks of black. Shell. The creature howled and slammed itself into the wall, trying to shake him off. Alex held on, gritted his teeth, and kept climbing higher until he reached its head. One final strike. The blade pierced through its largest eye in a burst of blue light. The behemoth screamed, its body thrashing wildly, smashing walls and machines. Then it fell. The floor trembled as its body collapsed, breaking into smoke and dust that vanished into the air. The smaller creatures froze for a moment, confused, lost. Then they hissed and scrambled back into the darkness, retreating into the tunnels. Silence fell over the chamber. Alex stood there, breathing hard, his blade still glowing faintly. "Hostile general eliminated," the helmet said calmly. "Local enemy forces in disarray. Window of opportunity, 17 minutes. Alex looked around at the wreckage, his chest rising and falling. The walls of the base were cracked, lights flickering, smoke hanging in the air. But he was still standing. Sigma-3 floated to his side. "Well fought, Commander," the drone said. "But this is just the beginning." Alex turned to face it. "What now?" The drone's lights blinked as it projected a map into the air. "You must reach the orbital station. The key to ending this war is there." Alex frowned. "The station? I thought it was destroyed." "Not destroyed," the drone said. "Abandoned. But it still waits for you." The map showed a massive structure circling far above Earth, its outer shell broken and scarred, but its core still glowing faintly. "The station houses the super weapon you designed. It can end the war in a single strike, but only your DNA can activate it. That is why they hunt you. That is why you cannot stop now." Alex stared at the hologram. He remembered building it. He remembered hiding it. He remembered dying to keep it secret. And now it was time to finish what he started. "Then get me there," he said. "There is an old shuttle in the hangar," Sigma-3 replied. "It was prepared for this day." The drone floated ahead, leading him through the damaged corridors to the hangar. The doors slid open with a hiss, revealing a sleek, black shuttle resting. On the platform, it was small, but sharp, its surface gleaming under the faint blue lights. Alex walked toward it slowly, his boots echoing on the metal floor. As he approached, the shuttle's hatch opened, and a soft light spilled out. The helmet spoke again. "Time remaining before enemy regroup. 14 minutes. Alex climbed inside, strapping himself into the pilot's chair. The controls lit up under his fingers, and screens blinked to life. Outside the hangar, he could already hear faint screams and claws scraping metal. The creatures were coming back. He gripped the controls and took a deep breath. The engines roared to life, and the shuttle lifted off the floor, hovering for a moment before tilting toward the exit tunnel. "Prepare for launch," Sigma-3's voice came over the comms. "And Commander," Alex glanced at the drone on the screen. "Good luck." The engines flared, and the shuttle shot forward, racing through the underground launch tunnel, past collapsing walls and crawling shadows, until it broke through the surface and into the open sky. For the first time, Alex saw the stars again, sharp, bright, cold, and hanging above him, like a silent guardian, was the ruined orbital station Waiting for him to come home, Dot? The helmet's voice whispered softly. The war begins now. Alex tightened his grip on the controls and muttered under his breath, "And let's end it." And with that, the shuttle streaked upward, cutting through the clouds, leaving the broken Earth behind as he flew toward the stars. The final secret, the shuttle cut through the blackness of space, leaving Earth behind. Below, the planet glowed faintly, blue, green, and scarred in places where the war had already reached. Above, the stars stretched endlessly, and ahead of him floated the orbital station. It was massive, even broken, even silent. It commanded respect. A ring of shattered metal and glowing veins of light circled its core like a crown. One side of it was torn open, giant chunks missing, debris floating lazily around it, but its heart still pulsed faintly. Alive, waiting. Alex gripped the shuttle's controls tightly as he approached, his reflection staring back at him in the cracked glass of the cockpit. The helmet's voice spoke softly in his ear. Station Omega detected. Status: derelict but operational. Weapon core active. Alex stared at it. This thing, it's supposed to end the war? It will, the voice replied, if you complete the sequence. He didn't answer. He just steered the shuttle toward a faint docking port, still lit on the underside of the station. The ship shuddered slightly as it locked into place with a loud hiss. Alex unstrapped himself and stood, feeling the weight of the moment press against him. He wasn't sure if it was fear anymore, or something heavier. He stepped through the hatch into the airlock. The doors groaned as they opened, revealing a long, silent corridor. The walls were cracked, dark in places, but faint blue lights still glowed in thin lines along the floor. Everything smelled of dust and something old. He moved slowly, his boots echoing in the silence. The helmet lit his path, symbols and faint holograms dancing in the air as he passed them. Every so often he saw marks on the walls, claw marks, long and deep, reminders that the enemy had been here too. But not anymore. Not yet. After what felt like hours, he reached the center of the station, the command chamber. The doors opened with a loud hiss, and Alex stepped inside. It was vast, a circular room, with a glass floor showing the Earth below. In the center stood a massive console, shaped like a sphere of light and metal, faintly humming. But what truly stopped him was what stood next to the console. Figure. Human. Wearing armor just like his. Its helmet was off, and its head hung forward, as if asleep. Alex's breath caught in his throat. It was him, but older. Scarred. Dead. The figure was suspended inside a transparent pod, its chest still faintly glowing with the same light as the station. The helmet whispered in his ear, Commander Alex Rain. Previous iteration. Preserved. Consciousness storage complete. Alex stepped closer, his hands shaking now. This is me? Yes, this was the first you. The one who built this station. The one who chose to die to protect it. Alex stared at his own dead face behind the glass. I don't understand. If I already died, why bring me back? Because he did not finish the sequence. He could not. He left it for you. Alex pressed a hand against the glass. The older version of himself seemed almost peaceful, but he could see pain etched into the scars on his face. Sacrifice. Failure. A faint light blinked on the console, pulling Alex's attention. He stepped toward it, and the helmet spoke again. Final sequence ready. Insert DNA. Confirm termination of hostile species. Alex froze. Termination? Yes. Activate the weapon, and every enemy in this galaxy will be erased. But so will this station, and everyone on it, including you. He swallowed. And if I don't, they will find Earth. Humanity will fall. The war will end. but not for you. Alex stood there for a long time. His reflection stared back at him from the glowing sphere. He thought about all the lives he'd already lived, all the deaths. He thought about the faces of the soldiers in his memories, the screams, the silence that followed. He placed his hand on the console. The sphere flared bright, lines of light racing up his arm, scanning his DNA. Commander confirmed. Weapon unlocked. The station began to hum louder now, the walls vibrating faintly. But then something moved in the shadows behind him. A voice, low, alien, and full of hate, spoke. You will not finish this time, human. Alex spun, his blade igniting in his hand just in time. The enemy had arrived. Not just dozens. They crawled out of the darkness. Tall, gray, their claws sharp, their eyes blazing. And behind them came it, the true enemy, a towering figure, cloaked in black, its body more shadow than flesh, its voice echoing like thunder. You cannot destroy us all. Even if you kill me, we will remain. We always remain. Alex tightened his grip on the blade. I've heard that before, he said, and then he charged. The fight was brutal, faster than anything before. Blades clashed, energy burned, the floor cracked under his feet as he cut through creature after creature, climbing toward the shadowed figure. He reached it, their blades colliding in a storm of light and darkness. The figure laughed, its claws wrapping around his neck. You can kill me, but you can never kill what we are, it hissed. Alex stared into its glowing eyes and replied simply, watch me. With one final strike, he drove his blade deep into its chest. The shadow screamed, and its body shattered into dust, dissolving into the air. The remaining creatures froze, then fell apart, one by one, their bodies crumbling into ash. The station was silent again. Alex staggered back to the console, breathing hard. Final sequence ready. Confirm execution. He closed his eyes and pressed his palm to the sphere. Confirmed. The lights around him blazed to life, the walls trembling as the station's weapon charged. Blue energy coursed through every panel, growing, brighter and brighter. On the glass floor below, he could see the earth, quiet, unaware, and above, the stars began to shift. The helmet's voice spoke for the last time. Well done, Commander. Humanity will remember you. Alex smiled faintly, and, as the light consumed him, he whispered, Mission complete. The station erupted in a brilliant wave of blue light, sweeping across the stars, silent, unstoppable, wiping the enemy from existence. And in the silence that followed, Earth still turned safe, waiting for the day it would remember the man who saved it. Asterisk, the last stand, the light consumed him. For a moment, there was nothing but blue fire, rushing through every vein of the station, every crack in its ancient walls, every shard of its shattered crown. Alex felt it inside him too, alive and burning, as if the weapon wasn't just a machine, but a part of him. He stood in the center of the command chamber, his hand pressed to the glowing sphere. The weapons. Hum grew louder, filling the silence of space with a rhythm that felt like a heartbeat. But then, he felt it, a resistance, something pulling back. The helmet's voice spoke, strained for the first time. Commander, the enemy is trying to override the sequence. They have embedded themselves inside the weapon's core. Alex's jaw tightened. So, they're not done yet, he muttered. You must enter the core and remove them manually, or the weapon will fail. Alex didn't hesitate. Then open the way, he said. The sphere split apart, revealing a narrow corridor of blinding white light. Warning, no return. This path ends here. Alex glanced at his reflection in the glass floor. The armor cracked, his face shadowed under the visor, and whispered, I know. He stepped inside. The corridor stretched endlessly, the walls alive with light and strange patterns that shifted like whispers. As he walked, the helmet spoke again, softer now, almost like it was saying goodbye. You are entering the weapons. Heart, this is not a place for the living. But you were never truly alive. You are always the war itself. Alex said nothing, because he understood. At the end of the corridor, he found it. The core. It hung in the air like a star, a sphere of energy so bright he had to shield his eyes. And wrapped around it, like a snake strangling its prey, was the last of the enemy. A shadowed figure he thought he had killed was here, larger now, its form stretched into 100 black tendrils digging into the core. When it spoke, its voice was 1,000 whispers. You cannot kill us, Commander. We are the silence between the stars. We are the hunger that waits. Alex raised his blade, the hum filling the empty chamber. Then starve, he said. And he leapt. The battle inside the core was unlike anything before. There was no ground, no up or down, only light and shadow, clashing again and again. Alex struck at the tendrils, cutting them loose one by one, but every cut sent pain shooting through his own body, as if the core was part of him now. The figure roared, striking back, its claws tearing at his armor, its whispers digging into his mind. You are nothing but a memory, it hissed. A broken man playing at being a god. You will fail, as you always have. Alex's grip tightened on the blade, even as blood dripped from his fingers. Maybe, he said through gritted teeth. But this time, you're coming with me. With a final roar, he drove the blade deep into the heart of the shadow. It screamed, not just in his ears, but inside his mind, a sound of rage and fear and something else. Desperation. The tendrils recoiled, snapping away from the core, and the figure dissolved into shards of black light. The core flared blindingly, and for an instant, Alex felt everything. He saw the enemy's memories, the worlds they had devoured, the stars they had darkened, the endless war they had waged against humanity. And he saw himself, over and over, standing, fighting, dying. He understood now. He was not just one man. He was every commander before him. Every sacrifice, every choice. All of it. Ending here. The core spoke to him, not in words, but in feeling. It was ready. The weapon was fully armed, but it needed him to finish it. This will erase all hostile life in the galaxy, the helmet warned. You will not survive. The station will not survive, but humanity will live. Alex closed his eyes. He thought of Earth, the faces of the soldiers he'd led, the people he'd saved, even if they would never know his name. And he smiled faintly. That's enough, he said. He pressed his hand to the core, and the light swallowed everything. From the surface of Earth, it was just a bright star in the night sky. A sudden, brilliant flare that outshone even the moon. People stopped in the streets to watch. They didn't know what it meant. They didn't know that in that moment, the enemy that had hunted them for centuries was gone, wiped from existence. The sky was quiet again. Safe, not above, where the orbital station had once been. There was nothing now but stardust. Somewhere, in the silence between stars, a faint voice whispered, "Mission complete." And then, nothing. Days later, on Earth, a little boy wandered into the ruins of an old city. Among the broken metal and cracked stone, he found something glinting faintly in the dust. A helmet, black and silver, scratched and scarred, but still intact. He picked it up, and for a moment, it hummed faintly in his hands. Then a soft voice spoke from inside it. "Commander, are you ready?" The boy stared at it, wide-eyed, and somewhere, far away, the stars seemed to whisper back, "Waiting, watching, because wars end, but heroes never die." The end.